Hey everyone, Caleb here with the Human Music Society. In light of Christmas and the holidays, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about something which AI definitely doesn't do, which definitely separates us from AI, and that is rest. And the idea of rest and what rest does for creativity and how important it is for us to rest as humans.
Let me start out by saying that work is not a bad thing. In fact, humans are designed to work, and that is where we get a lot of meaning and value from in our lives. See, what happens is when we work, we focus in on a task which needs to be done to accomplish a goal. This focus allows us to solve problems, be efficient, and avoid mistakes. But focus is like a filter. It removes everything around you which doesn't appear to be related to the task at hand. On the other hand, creativity thrives on openness, on taking in the world around us, on letting the subconscious dream up new creations. When in the state of focus for an extended amount of time, the focus filter destroys creativity because we are no longer open enough to the world around us. I recently had the great pleasure to meet composer and YouTuber Alex Mukala, and he said that if we're struggling with writer's block, then it's because we're not out in the world enough. And this is why it is important to rest, so that we break the addictive, harmful side of the work cycle and allow time for our minds and spirits to notice new things, to be filled up by the boundless beauty of the world. So here I am at a stream near my house, and it's a lovely little stream, but there's nothing particularly outstanding about it. But where the true power of rest comes in is when you have something like this and you're with it long enough in a restful state that you start to notice the story behind it. For example, what does this tell about the story of the stream? What do the leaves and the twigs tell about how big the stream has been at one point or another? In a lot of ways, this stream is just a stream, and the water is just flowing down. Who would notice it? There's nothing significant about it. But if you take the time to look at how the ripples affect the surface, and look how the ripples affect how the sun hits the bottom of the stream, and how unique and beautiful that is. Ah, yes, the bend in the stream. Have you ever wondered what the stream has to teach us about when we can't see around the bend in our own life? Or what about this? The bank. There's nothing significant about it from first glance. It's just a bunch of roots and a bunch of twigs and dirt and leaves. But then you notice something like this, where the light is reflecting off the stream into this little shadowy part of the bank. And how beautiful that is. I mean, just look at that. Or you're watching the stream and you see a leaf float down, and you wonder, where will that leaf end up? Where is it going? Or what about that one? If it gets stuck in these twigs here, how long will it be there? Is that its final journey, or will it eventually be free? This is what happens when we slow down and rest. We notice things like a leaf on a journey through the light in a stream, or the little shadows which the bubbles cause on the bottom of the stream. And this is just a tree, this is just a cottonwood tree. But look how the bark intertwines with itself. What would happen if the melodic lines of my music intertwined with each other the same way this bark does? Sometimes the bark is in line with itself, sometimes it's crossing itself, sometimes it's really gnarled up, like in this little section right here. What kind of music would be able to reflect something like that? Or what does the tree trunk have to say? What is the story of the tree by reading how the tree trunk splits and then splits again into more and more limbs? And how does that reflect the story of your own life or the story in your music? Taking the time to rest lets your mind notice things like this bark. What would music sound like with this bark in mind? As I was looking again at this shot from earlier, I noticed that there was something which I had missed. That is, the ripples in the sand on the bottom of the stream. That little tiny detail, so easily overlooked. And yet, when you notice it, it's so unique and so beautiful. This is what happens when you allow your mind to rest, when you allow your body to rest. Not just in nature, but in conversation and in all aspects of life. As I was walking out, I noticed this tiny little trickle of a waterfall and spent a few minutes just observing its tiny little beauties, like the bubbles in the water and the leaves on the surface of the water and the way the light reflects off the surface. How would I have noticed this if I hadn't taken the time to rest and to look?
I think that's about it, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas season and a wonderful holiday season. And I hope that you rest really well this season. Stay human.